said, well, you're a great salesperson and you always go one-on-one to sell in this industry. They said, what would happen if instead of you taking 200 clients in a year, what if you can get 15,000 clients in a year? I said, what do you mean? And these are good friends of mine, Will McCoy and Mario Hernandez. But what if you played and Tiger Woods would hit the first ball off all the 18, just the first ball, 18 holes? Would your golf game improve? I was like, heck yeah, right? That was the idea. So they put me in this position to do a showcase. So instead of talking to one customer, I'm literally talking to 25 families at a time, 2 times a day. I started on June 1st and I made $500,000 in 30 days. I know, yeah. $500,000 in 30 days. And it was, and this is W-2 income. This is working for a company.
Welcome to Presence, and today we have John Pineda here, a very successful entrepreneur. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so grateful that you have me here today. This movement that you have with Presence, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, you know, I'd like to do this. I like to share how anyone can get there, because if I can get there, you can get there. And it's all about duplication for me. Specifically, the number one skill that I believe in the world is duplication. But I don't mean just regular duplication. I mean, if someone's going to do something, do it exactly like another person's doing, and you're going to get that same result. And so that's how I got here. But how I got here and where is here, I like to be very transparent. I'm knocking on the door to about $75 million. And debt is important. I like to keep debt down, 50% loan to value. So, and I think your audience should know that we met earlier, but it was interesting because I saw you here at this studio and I was like, oh my gosh, I recognize that studio. And I said, hey, that's my building, right? This building was appraised for $5.4 million. And I only owe $2 million on it. So that's the kind of success I think is duplicatable. And if people just realize that the board monopoly, the book, is real. It's 4 greenhouses, right? A hotel. That's what it is. If you can buy 4 residential houses, use the rule of 72, let them appreciate within the next 7 to 10 years, they're going to double. You could literally do a cash out refinance on those 4 houses, get yourself into commercial property, and then just let the rest work. I mean, if you just take that rule of 72 and just keep compounding, I'll be 53 this year, right? So if I take that 75 million and that doubles by the time I'm 63, that's 150 million. And then that doubles by the time I'm 73, that's 300 million. And that doubles again. I mean, I hope to live to be 130. Before I leave Earth, I'll be a billionaire. And that was something I dreamed about as a kid. And so where I started was just very humble beginnings. My mom was a single mom. She raised 5 boys all by herself, Providence, Rhode Island. It was very, very, very humble, to say the least. But she had a home. She owned the home. And she struggled. She was an entrepreneur. So I kind of got that from her. She had like 5 different businesses. She would bake cakes. She babysat kids for the state. She tirelessly just didn't stop working. She would get into every network marketing, like Miracle Made and anything that had an opportunity. She never stopped working. So I got that from her, and that humble beginning got me to this place where, you know, it was hard work. I never saw her stop. She was an elementary school teacher in the Philippines, right? Imagine this. She had this huge paddle, Catholic school, 5th grade. She had the legal right to spank strangers' kids, right? What do you think happened to me? And I think that's the reason why myself and my brothers came out so good, yeah. So
it comes from the family, the whole entrepreneur thing.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just watching her, and I wouldn't say she was wildly successful, but she kept our house.
Hardworking.
Yeah, and she just didn't stop. And she just, from the time she woke up, I think I didn't think about it then, but if I think about it now, she probably slept an average of 5 hours a day. I mean, morning till night working, and we were her assistants. Anything she was doing, we were helping her do.
So she raised 5 kids, right?
5, Jerry, Julius, Jason, John, Josh, and we sort of raised each other. My brother Jerry was he was kind of the our leader. He was our dad, and he was such a good kid. I mean, like he was in the gifted program, right? He was he was book smart, and he didn't drink and he didn't smoke, and I guess the rest of us didn't either. But we worked hard, and we had these little paper routes and things. And even back then, we knew that we didn't have a lot, but we wanted a lot. We made a little group called it the Billionaire Boys Club, and we put all our money together, and we started to buy get-rich-quick tapes and CDs. By the time I was 15, 16 years old, I was able to meet Tony Robbins, because you get into building, right? And then you get into motivation. And then the building ends up being, in order to build your life, you have to build in here. You have to build in here. And that's what we got really good at. We got to be pros at that.
So you went to one of his events?
Yeah, well, the thing is that my brother Julius is, he was the first one to try to, he really expanded. He'd be like the finder in our group, if you will. He would find new information. And it started with Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Right, and then it led to a whole series. Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, the greats back then, and then of course you get to Tony Robbins, and that entire thing's a whole system. But to be impacted that young, and to be able to say, hey, yeah, that's the foundation for belief, right? And belief is everything. It simply comes down to you believing it, right?
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself, or else it's never going to happen.
That's it.
You got to believe in yourself. Yeah. So you started. When did you start mortgage?
I started in the mortgage business. That's a great story. So so I was I started in sales really young. I was 15 years old, and I started in sales, and it was telemarketing. It was over the phone.
Okay.
And then I transitioned. Like my mom, I used to think that, for the amount of money I wanted to make, there wasn't a company that wanted to pay me that. So I said, let me go get 10 jobs to try to make that money. And it was always, for me, my mind was always, what could get me the most amount that I deserve. So it was always commission based. It was my dad. My dad said he would come around. My dad was the former comptroller. He was an accountant for Goodyear National. And he would always say, hey, boys, when he came around, if you want to be rich, if you can't sing like Whitney Houston and you can't dance like Michael Jackson, then you better learn how to sell, because commissions is everything. So at 15, I started to get into I think I telemarketed everything, anything you can imagine, frozen foods, telemarketing, everything, security systems, everything. And then that eventually transitioned to car sales. Actually, I was 17 years old. My brother Jerry and I responded to this ad in Providence, Rhode Island about, it was in the paper, the newspaper, and it said, hey, come to this hotel, see if you can get a job. And I showed up. There was about 20 people in the room. And then it was the craziest thing, because I'm the smallest, youngest. I'm 17. I shouldn't even be there. But nobody paid attention to us. And the guys got hired, and they didn't pay attention at all. And so it ended. And the sales manager, he looked like, if your audience knows that, Kenny Rogers, this old singer, country singer. White beard, and he just was a really white hair. He walked out, and I chased him down the hallway. And I just said, excuse me, sir. I was like, I'm here to interview for the job. And he said, how old are you? I said, well, I think that what's more important, the words I believe I said was, what's more important is what I could do for you. And I told him about the sales that I do over the phone, that if he just gave me a chance. And I said something that my aunt told me. My aunt used to be, she started out being a hairdresser. And she told me this one story, how she got the job. She got the job because, her first job, she said, because she looked at him and she says, if you just trust me just a little bit, I'll earn the rest. And I said that to him. And he looked at me and he said, well, you're young. I was like, I know. But my brother was 18. I go, together we can do this. He gave me a shot. I ended up being the #1 car salesperson. By the time I was, when I was there at 17, by the time I turned 18 years old, for Inskip Motors up there. But I'll tell you something funny. When I got there, they didn't let me talk to the customers. So like, let's say you went in the car lot to buy a car, and they would call you, you're called an up. That's what the lead is called, And then so when you get there, they didn't let me talk to them, because they said, the manager said, there's real men here that have families at home. We can't, you're a kid. We can't afford to let you talk to them. But remember, I was a telemarketer. So I looked, there was a huge file cabinet. And I looked and I asked the secretary, I said, what are those files? And she said, they're old customers. I said, can we call them? She goes, sure. And I made a little script. I went to the bathroom. I thought about something. I opened up the first file, Camilla, and I sat there and I called the customer and I said, hey, you bought a car here, right? They said, yeah. I go, well, if you come down today, my manager said he's going to double the offer because we have a special going on. And that's how I did it. I didn't talk to one customer, but I used what I knew. And I think that opportunity is important. To be able to create opportunity for yourself is what I ended up doing.
I think opportunity is everything.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's why you got to network. I think networking is everything too.
Yeah. And just really know your surroundings and get to know people and get to figure out what their needs are before they even know that they need